Good morning, chickadoes and chickadees. Today is Wednesday, December 9th, and this is the reading of today's poem, Domestic Work, 1937. So as you click into the document, you'll see that you have the link to the text that's going to automatically make a copy for you so that you have the time and the ability and space to annotate, to take notes. And again, if you'd like to go out there and research, go out there and see what other summaries are out there or analyses that are out available for you, then go ahead and do that. Be able to find a way to use this virtual learning as an opportunity to use technology in your benefit for your corner. Build, bridge those gaps, develop those links of understanding between the text and what is being said. So this is Domestic Work, 1937. All week she cleaned someone else's house, stared down her own face in the shine of copper, bottom pots, polished wood, toilets she'd pulled the lid to, that look saying, "Let's make a change, girl." But Sunday mornings are hers. Church clothes starched and hanging, a record spinning on the console, the whole house dancing. She raises the shades, washes the room in light, buckets of water, octagon soap. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Windows and doors flung wide, curtains two-stepping forward and back, neck bones bumping in the pot, a choir of clothes clapping on the line. Nearer, my God, to thee. She beats time on the rugs, blows dust from the broom like dandelion spores, each one a wish for something better. So, as we take a look at this poem, we have to think about the context of this piece. We have to think about, okay, what is the time period? Are we talking about something right now, or are we talking about something in the future, or something in the past? And based on the two pieces of information from our text or from our title, one is the year 1937, so we should be looking at the early 20th century, and then the word domestic work. We have to understand what that word means. And again, if you don't know, definitely Google it, but we're looking at this concept of housework. It's another way of saying, a nicer way of saying housework, of the chores that we have to do. And we have to think of the context of 1937, of who was able to work and who was not. And if they were able to work, what were the deemed appropriate line of professions. So, as we take a look through the poem, we see that it is focusing on a woman. All week, she's cleaned someone else's house. So, we're looking at a domestic worker, we're looking at a maid, we're looking at a housekeeper, we're looking at someone who comes into your house and cleans for you, washes your blinds, your clothes, your dishes, your floors, puts everything away, stared down her own face in the shine of copper bottom pots. And what we have to understand that when we read poetry, we're not reading line to line when there's punctuation present. We read to the punctuation. We read to the pauses and stops, the dashes that create that dramatic pause in a poem. So when grammar is used, we abide by it as best as we possibly can, because that instead of the enjambments, the end of the lines, instead of that creating the pauses and breaks for us, it's going to be the punctuation used. So all week she's cleaned someone else's house, stared down her own face in the shine of copper bottom pots, polished wood, toilet she'd pulled the lid to. That look saying, "Let's make a change, girl." So as we take a look at this first stanza, we're looking at the work of a woman who's working in some other woman's house and cleaning it and having that sense of determination. Then again, we have, as we move to the next stanza, we have that shift, that change of going from where she works to where this person, this woman, the subject of our poem, to where they live and how it's their time and what they do. And hopefully you're picking up on the tone change, in the sense it's kind of like we have to versus we want to. Like we don't like, but we endure. And then this is what we take pleasure in. Because as we take a look at the words that develop that tone, washes the room in light, that has such a positive connotation to it, has such a positive association, a good feeling. Church clothes starched and hanging, record spinning on the console. Again, that good old fashioned record player, right before the 8-track tape, listening to that music, just kind of, vibing through and cleaning your house and just getting it done. So as we see these interjected thoughts. Cleanliness is next to godliness. It's these phrases, these mottos. Let's make a change, girl. Get her done. It's these moments of mantras and encouraging thoughts or reminders of what needs to be done. Windows and doors flung wide, curtains two-stepping. Think about all that beautiful imagery that's being available or made available to us here. Forward and back, neck bones bumping in the pot. That's referencing what she's cooking. She's cooking a meal, and the water's boiling, and the meat and everything, the bones are just kind of jumbling around in there. A choir of clothes clapping on the line. Back in the day, there was no automatic dryers or electric dryers. So we had to put everything outside and let nature take its course and do its thing. But choir of clothes clapping, we think of choir as an ensemble, a group of people singing together in unison, in harmony, in sync. And that sense that clothes are doing that and clapping, that's where we see that sense of personification, and then also attributing to the imagery. Nearer, my God, to thee. Again, another interjection, another one line stanza, as we saw with cleanliness is next to godliness. Let's make a change, girl. We see this a reference to religion. We see this very familiar, well known a line, saying, verse. So we see this as a biblical allusion, or maybe just an allusion to a song that people are familiar with. She beats time on the rugs, blow dust from the broom like dandelion spores. Here we see that simile. Each one a wish for something better. We see how these dandelion spores are represented as something more. So as we take a look at this poem by Natasha Trethewey, we're looking at the idea of domestic work of a woman in the 1930s. If they had a job, that's pretty much what they were able to do: nursing, domestic work, like working in someone's house, or education. And at that, not even legit education, like schoolhouse teacher, because you needed a degree or so to get into that, but more of like in-home child care, daycare centers. We have this mentality of a woman cleaning in someone else's house versus cleaning in theirs, and then just kind of thinking of what the lesson is being taught there. So I'm going to read it one more time, and then think about our speaker, the woman, or the speaker talking about a woman being a domestic provider, cleaning someone else's house, cleaning her own house, and think about what that lesson is. What is that universal truth that Ms. Trethewey is trying to teach us in this text? Domestic work, 1937. All week she cleaned someone else's house, stared down her own face in the shine of copper-bottom pots, polished wood, toilet she'd pulled a lid to, that look saying, let's make a change, girl. But Sunday mornings are hers. Church clothes starch and hanging, a record spinning on the console, the whole house dancing. She raises the shades, washes the room in light, buckets of water, octagon soap. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Windows and doors flung wide, curtains two-stepping, forward and back, neck bones bumping in the pot, a choir of clothes clapping on the line. Nearer, my God, to thee. She beats time on the rugs, blows dust from the broom like dandelion spores, each one a wish for something better. So as you focus on today's poem and you go through annotations, there's more pieces of literary elements that you can go back in the sense of more personification, other pieces of imagery that you can notate. But take this time to get familiar with it. If you want to go out and go down that rabbit hole and find other summaries and analyses of this poem, you are more than welcome. You are encouraged to do that, just like you were and invited to do for the first text. And if you haven't done it, go back and do it. If you have a question, jump on the Zoom call with me today or email me. Other than that, enjoy this one, and I'll see you later. Love y'all. Have a good one. Make good choices.